Just in the nick of time, we have Jerry Slusowicz in from Pacific Financial Planners. The market is kind of volatile. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Michael. Good to see you again.
All right, we got some wild times. I'm glad you're here. There's some wild times in the market, and I guess that makes people nervous about their investments, right? I mean, where most people have their 401ks or people taking their retirement right now.
Yeah, the markets hate, and the investors hate uncertainty. And that's pretty much all we have right now. The new administration is trying to do, what was that movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or something like that? It did win an Academy Award, so we'll see how this one turns out.
Yeah, I'm not sure any awards are coming just yet in terms of the results.
Certainly not yet. If anything, it's volatile, it's scary, it's concerning. We did have 2 great years, and I talked about how the technology sector, the AI sector, that's all people could talk about in 2023, 2024, and how that was going to probably change and rotate out of. And boy, have we seen a rotation. We're in market correction, which means more than 10% down on the S&P and the NASDAQ, more like 13% on the NASDAQ. And there's no set bottom in place with the political uncertainty.
Right, and I think that certainty, like you're talking about, if there was something consistent going on, or we knew kind of the direction, but I think people are kind of scared because sometimes, okay, tariffs are on, tariffs are off, this is going this way, and is that really what continues the volatility, even maybe beyond what a reasonable amount would be? Yeah,
but again, we're 13% off the all-time high ever.
Sure.
So, and the economy is still plugging along.
Right.
Output's still good. Purchasing managers for service industry, which is 90% of our economy, is still very good, still positive, I think 7-8 months in a row. And again, participating in those volatile sectors, Michael, is a choice. Our viewers, now you and I perhaps, younger, still working, we might want to expose ourselves to growth and more volatility. But our clients, a lot of them have zero volatility in their portfolios, or certainly a lower percentage of volatility in their portfolio, because they're switching more to the income model than it is from the growth model.
Right, let's talk a little bit about that, an income model instead of that traditional kind of stock and mutual fund kind of things. Tell me a little about that and what that means.
Well, I call it the income generation, and that's because it's kind of a twofold term. Our viewers, of course, are needing to supplement their Social Security. If they have a pension, that's great, but a lot of people, more and more, are not getting a pension. So instead of the 3-legged stool, Social Security, pension, and your savings, it's a 2-legged stool, which isn't very stable. Social Security and your savings only because of the pension. So what do you need? You need to draw income from that. So there's different ways to do that. I mean, obviously the need for it is because of longevity. I mean, people are living longer than ever. And our costs keep going up, especially healthcare costs. There's no cap on that. Current administration, just like the last administration, really didn't do much to cap healthcare costs.
Right.
And with the tariffs, the economic uncertainty. So if you could have something that pays you consistently, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, like bonds and dividends, then you can have at least predictable income coming in while the rest of your portfolio, might fluctuate.
And the market volatility kind of messes with people's minds in that area too, right? That we're in right now in terms of like what's a month to month going to be if I don't have that regular flow of income. So I think that's what gets people most concerned. Correct.
And so once you retire, your mindset has to change from when you were 25, 35, 45, hey, I got to grow my money and save for retirement. Now once you're closer to retirement, or certainly in retirement, you have to do this mind shift from volatile growth to more conservative, stable, income-generating investments.
So income generation, so turning savings into income and turning all of these things into something that's going to be coming in as a regular basis, and that consistency can at least get us away from that feeling of volatility as we enter our retirement ages, right?
Right, because look, people working, this market volatility is actually an opportunity. You're going to work for a few more years. If you've got a 401k, or if you're investing regularly, when prices go down, hey, stocks are on sale. Good time to buy. But when you retire and you give up that paycheck coming in, what should you do? I mean, it makes sense to replace your paycheck with income from your investments
Right.
that pay you regularly.
Yes, exactly. So how do some people avoid these common pitfalls? What should we be doing? How do we make that mind shift?
Well, I mean, one of the first things you got to really do is look at your portfolio and see how much risk you're taking. We offer this thing called a retirement risk report, and it's really important. We sat down with someone yesterday, and we showed them that that if we had another 2007, 2009 correction, they would lose almost 40% of their money.
Okay.
Hey, look, I just said the market's down 13%. So if you've got $1 million portfolio and you're indexed towards growth or the S&P 500, you just lost $140,000. How do you feel today?
Yeah.
and you're retired with no other income. How do you feel today?
Right.
Would you want to lessen that volatility, especially since it could be another 10%? I mean, we really could have that. I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of people come on these shows and they're like, oh yeah, this is how it's going to work. I could tell you why I think what's going to happen is going to happen, but the truth is nobody knows. So what should you do? You got to protect yourself. I call it safe investment strategy. Sound advice for everyone.
There we go. I was going to ask what that acronym is.
Yeah, sound advice for everyone. And that is, following Warren Buffett, 2 rules of investing. 1, don't take big losses. Rule number 2 is see rule number 1. So you want to have some protection plan in place. You want to have some income generation in place to supplement that you're getting paid while the market's going up and down. Just like you get paid, the market's going up or down, you're getting paid from your job. Seniors that are retired need income from their portfolio.
And is that one of the things I think that people maybe have, instead of going for the big win, you're focused on, hey, don't take the big loss. There's a difference there. Don't go for that big roll of the dice, big winner, and the gamble in the terms of the growth areas.
Absolutely, Michael. I mean, again, if you got $1 million and you have another 2007, 2009 where the market goes down 60% and you lose half your money and you're not working, what do? You can't make that money back up. So that's why once you retire, you got to go more conservative, you got to go more income oriented.
When somebody comes into your office and they maybe don't have that 3-legged stool, maybe they have the 2 legs, what are some of the things you look at initially and say, okay, here's where you are and where do you want to be? I mean, do you also talk to them individually like, hey, I want to travel, or I just want to sit in a house and, watch the grass grow?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the most important parts of it, Michael, is that is what your expenses are and what your expenses are going to be in retirement. I know for me personally, I'm working Monday through Friday. I spend more money on the weekends. So people think, well, my expenses will go down in retirement. Well, no, it's like a permanent weekend. Generally, depending on what you want to do, if you want to start traveling and do the different things, it might cost you a lot more money going forward in retirement. So we try to make projections. Where you are today, very important. What are your expenses? How much money do you spend today to afford your lifestyle? Because most people don't want to take a step back either.
Right.
So then you got the go-go years of retirement. You start traveling right away. So we've got to account for that. And then the last one is inflation. How much is it going to cost you down the road to buy the same things 10 years from now? It's going to be more. Yeah,
and that can be tough on a fixed income, right? If the income generation isn't growing along with inflation.
You got to project for that. A lot of people just project for today. They're 65 years old perhaps, and when they're 85, they can't afford their lifestyle anymore, yet they want to.
You got a forum coming up. Tell us about that. What are you going to be talking about?
Well, pretty much these topics. The topic du jour, it's called the Financial Forum. It's the second Thursday of every month, Clubhouse 7, 3 to 5 p.m. No obligation, anyone can come. But we're going to talk about these topics. We're always topical about today, the markets. We take any questions. It's a group discussion. But we're also going to talk about some of these safe ways to generate income. Because when I sit down with people from the village here, a lot of them just take way too much risk. It's really the number one problem.
And they just haven't, it's kind of one of those things where people set it and forget it. Oh, I have this investment portfolio, it's been doing fine.
I did my 401k when I was 45 and it got me to have enough money in retirement, should work. Yeah, but you're not working anymore. There's a huge change.
Yes, a major difference. All right, Jerry Slusewicz from Pacific Financial Planners, thank you so much for coming. Everybody get to that Thursday seminar, and we'll see you soon.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the library with Eileen Ordway. Stay with us.